You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Project Runway After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Project Runway After Show.
Hey guys, Bing is for doing, and we're here doing another Project Runway after show. We're on season 12, episode 10, SuperFan, which is kind of perfect because here we are at AFTERBUZZ being super fans, recapping shows. It kind of worked out for us. We were very excited about this title. And it was a really, I loved this challenge. I think this might have been one of my favorite challenges. Just a little tidbit about it. So it's SuperFan. So apparently women all around the country, world possibly, have turned in these videos on why they would want to come to Project Runway and get a makeover and be able to be part of the show. And they selected 8 contestants, so to speak, to come in, and it was really awesome. You see them show up on the bus, they get to meet Tim, they get a tour of Parsons, they're like looking everywhere, and they're just loving life, these women. And you know, I wonder if any men were allowed to do that challenge. They didn't mention it, but I think that it should be open to the dudes too.
Yes.
In the future.
I think it should be open to the dudes too, but maybe have an all dude challenge.
Yeah, have both.
Yeah.
Because I mean, with fashion too, like a lot of men are super into fashion, and they're super fans too.
Well, there was an earlier season of Project Runway where they threw in menswear to the designers, and they had to do a suit, and it was laughable what they came out with. Because
but still, it is part of it.
It takes longer to do menswear.
It does, but there's something about, I feel like there's something in menswear about being awesome and show-stopping, but it's still being simple. Anyway, back to the challenge we have here today. So, you know, I really, it's, you know, there's so much to talk about, and I so want to jump to the end, but I'm not going to, because I'm very happy about the outcome finally, and that might be a spoiler in itself. But so we get there, and then we have all the super fans, and they come into the workroom, and it looks like it was a shock to the contestants that the super fans were there, that they didn't know that this was going to happen. I mean, maybe they didn't, just played it off, but it looked like they were like, why are you guys here?
I just want to mention how awesome it was for the superfan contestants to not only get to like meet Tim Gunn, but they got to take a little tour of the Parsons School of Design, which is a legendary fashion school, and also the home of the show.
Yeah, and they got to see the runway.
Yeah, they even show them walking by the food, the snack table.
Crafty.
Yes, craft services, and going into the workroom. And I have to say, all those years ago when I got to be a model on the show, it was so exciting to walk into that room, and I was like, I remember it. I remember the feeling of going in there for the first time and feeling like you're going to pinch yourself because you're like, am I dreaming? Is this actually happening? But back to them, they were so cute.
Well, that's actually interesting because in that, I feel like the experience that you had to be awesome, and you were there for work. You know what I mean? So these women, and so like when you're there for work, you're probably a little bit trying to like keep it together and not be too excited, but on the outside, but on the inside, you're super excited. And these women got to be excited on the outside. They got to strut their stuff and put their arms up.
Oh my God! And Tim invited them on the runway right away. And
and you could see they were a little hesitant, and then they were like, "Yeah, we want to do it."
These ladies have been practicing at home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, not you.
But yes, anyone that's like a big fan of the show that thinks they might have a chance to go on, of course you would practice your walk.
Right.
In hopes that you would make it.
Which I think is really, and we see how all of them own it in their own way. And, you know, part of tonight really is the whole package. And I feel like, you know, we've both experienced on it on different sides of it. You being a model, me making clothes to walk. And the walk is kind of important.
And I'm a fan of the show too. So I wasn't, you know, it had been on for 2 seasons by the time I was on it. So I was like a fan and excited to be working with all the people that are on it and everything. So I was excited for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, no, but we kind of went back and forth. So.
But these ladies not only get to be the client for the designers, They're getting a head-to-toe makeover.
They are getting a head-to-toe makeover, which, I mean, we both have our opinions about. It seems like it's going to be a great idea in the beginning. And L'Oreal, what was it?
L'Oreal Paris. They come
that's
in. Johnny Lavoie. He is the hairstylist from L'Oreal. He comes in to the workroom and sort of announces to the ladies that they will have a chance to have their hair made
Which
over.
I think is awesome. But right away, when they took the ladies and they were talking about it, and I understand product placement, and I understand the way business works, but I felt like it was a little bit unrealistic that these women were going to get their hair dyed out of a box dye. Like, they could have done a good look and then been like, at home, if you would like to get this look, this is what you do. You know what I mean? Like, like I wasn't buying that a model on a runway is dyeing their hair with a box dye.
Well, you never know. I mean, actually, sometimes these hairstylists from L'Oreal, I mean, they're well trained, so they can take the color from the box, but mix and match different shades, so it might not all be from one box.
Right.
So, you know, at least
I feel
you're
like
having
it too would have made them feel like if I was going to get this huge makeover and they used this box dye that I could buy at CVS, I'd be a little bit like, yeah, my friends can do that.
Yeah.
Like
but at least they get unique haircuts. Some of them much better than others.
Right. But yeah.
We have to get to that. But
we will get to that. But it was very it was a very amazing superfan. I mean,
they were all so cute and excited.
They were all so cute and excited. They you know, they really got this ultimate experience, and there's very few shows that actually do, you know, an ultimate experience like this. And I feel like this show kind of did it right. And even at the end when people were getting critiqued, and, you know, they might not get, you know, their perfect outfit because whoever they're paired up with might not finish it in time, whatever. Like, just the experience, like, Project Runway did the experience right, I believe.
And I think that they were able to put these women into the challenge in a very respectable way and made it clear to the designers that they were to listen to their wants and needs.
Right.
And, you know, but still maintain their aesthetic, but, like, make it all about them and not about the designers.
Right. So, okay, so let's break it down. Who gets paired up with who? Justin gets paired up with a woman named Tristan, who she was
Mormon.
Amazing.
She's Mormon, and she just recently lost 130 pounds.
Right.
Amazing.
Good job, Tristan.
She looks incredible.
Yeah, she does. She looked incredible. And she just had such a good, like, I mean, they all had a good air about them, but her, like, I like her.
She had a good energy and a good presence on camera.
Alexandria, what were you going to say?
I just wanted to add one more thing. Sorry. Tim Gunn made it clear that they apparently drew the women's names out of a button bag to match them with the designers, but I don't know. It was just pre-planned, pre-paired up, so I don't know if it was that they really drew it out of a bag, fair and square, as he said, or if it was like assigned. I don't know.
I'm sure. I mean, I don't think it has any relevance. Like, I feel like however they picked it, the designer didn't get to pick. Like, the designer didn't get to pick the superfan, and the superfan didn't get to pick the model. Is I think what they were kind of going for by the random, because they don't want to, like, make, you know, people like Ken with an attitude be like, well, we picked this one for you, and anyone say anything. I feel like that's what they were trying to, like,
and also
make sure that didn't happen.
You don't want to have one of the superfans get picked last.
Right. Well, yeah, that
wouldn't be so much fun either.
Nah, it wouldn't be like that. Okay, so we can just go down the line, and then I feel like later too, in the workroom of what they wanted, Alexandria gets paired up with Stephanie. Ken gets paired up with Susie. Dom gets paired up with Jane Sarah. Helen gets paired up with Jamie, and it's very interesting that right off the bat, Helen's like, "Oh, you guys are jealous of my girl," and I think it was for two reasons right away. I think it was for the reason that it was apparent that there was a makeover that was necessary. Apparent. You know, and no disrespect, like, you know, it's not that it has nothing to do with her look, but it had to do with the way she kept herself. Like, you could tell she was just someone that didn't, you know, regardless of what kind of style you have, you can tell when people stay on top of it. Like, she hadn't cut her hair in 20 years. She
hasn't spent a lot of time in the hair salon, but she's a beautiful person, a beautiful girl who just kind of let her hair go.
Yeah, and she had a very nice figure.
Yes,
so I think it was both of that.
She's a lawyer who had a dream of being a fashion designer, so she's very, very into it.
Right.
And very excited to be there. I love it.
Yeah. And then we have Alexandria gets Andrea.
You mean Alexander? Yes, Alexander gets
Yeah,
Andrea.
yeah,
Yes.
you're totally right. My bad.
It's easy to mix that up.
Yeah. Kate gets Altagracia.
Yes.
That's,
yes.
I think her name. Alta.
Yes.
We'll call her Alta. And Braden gets Jennifer, who was a long, beautiful blonde,
Long blonde
like
hair.
locks, like blonde locks.
Real blonde hair, not hair extensions.
Yeah. I mean, and I feel like it just has to happen that we talk about the hair first.
We have to talk about
have
the
the
hair
hair
first. We
first.
have to. This is one of those TV episodes of all time that will go down in history of me wanting to throw things at the television.
It was pretty hard to tame you during this show.
I actually had my notepad and I threw it on the ground.
Okay, so let's break it down. So we start with Jennifer, and it's just, to me, like, her hair was such a canvas. Such a canvas. You could do so many different things with her hair, and they just kind of whacked it. It kind of like, let's make you 20 years older.
It's like they gave up.
Yeah.
Like, she had long hair literally down to her waist. I think it was all pretty much the same length.
Yeah, it was about the same length. Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh, maybe they'll give her some long layers, take some of the weight off of it, but maybe have it.
Yeah,
off
like
maybe
wispy, something layered, Jennifer Aniston
like a
looking,
long
like,
bang
yeah,
swept to the side, maybe like
something
grazing like the rib cage or something. Like maybe take off like 4 inches of length.
Yeah.
But they
or even shoulder length with like
Yeah.
some wisp. Like I
Yes.
wanted some wisp.
You needed the wisp.
I needed the wisp. And
We
they didn't
need
give it
some
to her. I mean,
wisp.
she said
L'Oreal, Paris.
she said she wanted to be edgy, chic, and she's
New
like, I'm in New
York.
York. Which, I mean, again, like for me, it's like, being from New York, I feel like a lot of people have this stigma of New York, and she did
a
not look tough.
stereotype.
She did not. I mean, literally in her interview, she said, "I want to look like I could cut a bitch."
Yeah, and I'm
And
like,
I mean, she
do
didn't.
you mean
she,
that?
She looked like she could grade a report card. Just saying.
She was a very sweet, demure girl.
She's a beautiful woman, yes.
And very
but
pretty.
I just thought she could. There's a cooler hairstyle for her out
They
there.
literally chopped off her hair, like
almost like a bowl cut, but shorter.
yes, it was like to put it bluntly, like a mom haircut.
Yeah, she looked like a teacher.
It was like
It was not sexy.
And by the way, they showed her crying backstage.
They did show her crying before the runway, and I don't know, like, it was very interesting how they showed her crying, and then they edited in, like, they all might be nervous to walk the runway, but I don't know, like, I kind
She
of
was
want to
crying
know if
about her hair.
Jennifer was, yeah, I kind of want to know if Jennifer wishes she had her, like, I want to know if she's upkeeping it, or she's growing it right back out, or maybe afterwards they're like, we're so sorry. I remember... Very quick digression is once I got and I do rock a short haircut now, and I love short hair.
I love your haircut.
Thank you.
It's very cool, and I like that it's different lengths.
Yeah, thanks. But I remember when I was younger, once I got a really short haircut, and I cried, like I must have been like 7, and I was screaming in the hair salon, put it back on. So I wonder if Jennifer's having a put it back on moment. And I made my mom go buy me a hat. And I have a thing for hats. Like I love beanies and I love ball caps. So I wonder if that's why like hats are my safety. Like when I'm not feeling good, I'll put a hat on. And I wonder if it like stems back. Anyway, total digression.
Well, when I can't figure out what I want to do with my hair, I'll put on a hat. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of girls feel that way.
Yeah. Okay. So then we've got Alta. She looks amazing.
She, I think, was one of my favorite makeovers of the whole show.
Yeah, and we're just talking right now. We're just talking hair, just because this is what happened in the beginning to get you guys all caught up.
She had more of a like traditional bob.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a medium brown with maybe a couple of highlights, but they made it like a uniform, like chestnut brown, I think.
Yeah, it was about, yeah. It was
And
a
it
beautiful brown. It wasn't like, it was a nice brown.
It was the right kind of rich, chocolatey brown that looked so good with her skin. And she looks like she could probably be of like Italian or Greek descent. So she had like a nice olive tone to her skin, and it really, really brought that out. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot too. And then we go to Andrea.
Oh.
Well, I'm just going backwards.
Yes.
From where we started.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Andrea, her hair was one of the best transformations, but it was one of the least, like, different. But they did such a good job. It doesn't have to be night and day to be a great transformation.
Right.
The hairstylist cut some bangs on her. He even said, have you wanted to wear a bang? And she's like, I don't really do that much. And he goes, well, if it's good enough for Michelle Obama, it's good enough for you.
Yeah, which, you know what? Not for nothing, and no disrespect. I'm not a hairstylist. I don't know what it's like being a hairstylist, but it was kind of like I felt like he almost had it predetermined what people were getting. Like, it wasn't like, which is not uniform to the rest of the challenge when they were really like, we'll get into the workroom after this, when they were really asking them, like, what is it? What do you want? Like, I feel like this was not a what do you want moment. This was, we've got this many boxes of L'Oreal and we got to use them all, so this is what you're getting.
And I bet that that's sort of how they picked the super fans. Like, which hairstyle can we do on these girls? And it wasn't necessarily a consultation.
Wow. Look at you going deep.
Not necessarily a consultation, but this girl's getting this one's getting this one's getting this. And they probably had to sign something saying,
you can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want to my hair. So.
Yeah. Okay, and then we get to Helen.
Just a thought.
Helen's girl, Jamie.
Jamie!
Ah, man.
The hair to the butt long.
Hair to the butt long. And she whacked it. Like, kudos to her for whacking it and having the balls to be okay with that.
But at first I was really mad.
But God, I wanted it to be sexier.
It wasn't sexy. It was almost like...
It was cute. It was like pixie-like cute. But it wasn't like...
I wanted it to be like...
I wanted it to be banging.
I wanted it to be another wispy moment.
Yeah.
But maybe like...
A wispy what?
Wispy moment.
I thought you said wispy mullet.
No. No, not a wispy mullet.
That
no.
would not be sexy either. Go ahead.
Oh my God. Steph!
Sorry, my rare form.
Okay, well, yes. I wanted it to be like sleek and straight.
I wanted the bangs off of her face.
Yeah.
I wanted them to do something with the bangs up and like, and I'm not trying to make it like, not like my hair like bangs up, you know what I mean? But like something with the bangs off of her face and then some like coming in.
I was expecting, you know, a lot of the length to come off, but I didn't think it was going to be as short as Anne Hathaway's hair. Pretty much.
Oh, I like the short.
Okay.
I just felt like I wanted to see her face.
You didn't feel like it was the right haircut?
No.
Okay.
I didn't dislike the length.
Okay.
It could have actually even been a little shorter for me.
Oh,
because
interesting.
She has a beautiful face, a beautiful neck, and like you know what I mean? Like I wanted to see it.
She's very elegant, which you don't get in the beginning how she comes in. She was the biggest like geek to chic.
Yeah, that's
makeover.
a good way to put it. Yeah,
yes.
That's a very good way to put it.
Almost like those old Ricky Lake episodes.
Totally.
Geek to chic.
Yeah. Okay, then we have Jane Sarah.
Yes. And she got the ombre hair.
Yeah.
So she had like the dark to light, which is a beautiful look, but her hair is only like shoulder length. So the ombre, when it's so close to your face, is not the same effect as, say,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of the ombre.
I like it when it's subtle.
Or ombre, whatever it's called. I
ombre,
like
you got it.
Ombre. I like it, but like someone was probably like, oh my God, I haven't dyed my hair in forever, and wow, this looks cool. Let's make a style out of it. You know what I mean? Like it looks like roots. It doesn't look bad,
Like
but
they
like
grew
the
it
whole
out.
like doing that on purpose to me is like, who does that? I know a lot of people
I've
do it,
seen-
and I'm sure it looks good, but it's very, to me,
No,
it's
but
like,
it can go really wrong too.
Yeah.
It has to be subtle and it has to be on long hair.
right.
Because
Yeah, it's got to be like a gradient rather than a
yes,
line. That was
yes.
what I didn't like.
Her hair looked more like, here's a chunk of brown, here's a chunk of blonde.
Right, let's dip it in.
Call it a day.
Okay, then we're moving up. We got Susie,
Yes.
who she was just a firecracker. I loved her.
She had beautiful curly hair and
Yeah.
she wanted it to like stay curly. So they
Yeah.
left it like that, which is cool. Instead of just trying to just straighten it out. They went for an auburn tone for her, which was beautiful.
Yeah, it was just a little bit darker.
Yeah.
And it gave her a little bit more dense, and it looked nice.
It brought out her eyes.
It did.
She has blue eyes.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, they look really blue with that
Yeah.
hair color. It suited her personality
It did
too.
totally suit her. And then we had Stephanie, who,
Redhead.
yeah, you know what? She pulled it off. It looked great on her.
It was the right shade of red.
It was.
Because it was more in the auburn family, but still a strong red
Right.
auburn.
And for those of you that are just listening and not watching, which we love that you listen, we love that you watch, please download our show, go to iTunes, rate us, give us comments, tell us what you want to hear, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like. We have thick skin, we can take it. But for those of you that are actually seeing it, it's very true with red hair. Like your color red suits you very well. But I feel like if you had her color or if she had yours,
It
you know,
wouldn't
it
be
wouldn't
exactly
be exactly
right.
right. Exactly. Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
It
That's
has
exactly-
to be the right red for your skin and your eyes and everything.
Right, which I
And it
feel like
has
they
to-
figured out. They hit that one they hit that nail on the head.
And I
whatever.
like that they gave her a bang. She didn't have.
Had a bang.
Well,
It was like a tucked bang.
Okay, if she had bangs, she wasn't really styling them the
Right.
same way as being like fully out on your forehead. Maybe she was trying to grow hers out or something.
Right.
But it looked really chic, and I think it gave her a good polished look. She's only 20, so she needed some kind of defining look to go out into the world and get a job. She said she wanted an outfit for internships and job interviews, so we'll get to the outfit later, but I mean, I think the hair speaks to that, of looking professional
Yes.
and being in the field that she's in of
Yeah, it gave her confidence.
art historian, I think she
Yeah.
is. Yes.
So actually, I don't know if that was her, but we'll get to that. So that's pretty much the pairs that we have.
Tristan, we talked about her, but did we talk about her hair?
No, go ahead.
Her hair was actually pretty like a muted transformation. It was basically, she came in and she had a curly bob, and they straightened it out, and they kind of made it more of a uniform color. She had basically, it looked like she had her natural hair color with just some highlights.
Yeah.
And they just kind of made it all one kind of.
It looks good.
dark
Like a lot of the
blonde.
intentions of the hair were good, but I mean, you know, Jennifer's and
Jennifer's made
Jennifer's
me
and
sad.
Jamie's could have been way better.
Yeah, they. I don't know. Maybe it was just too much of a shock for me.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Okay, so moving on. So then we get to the challenge. After this, they have, you know, the contestants have their superfan. They get 30 minutes to sketch their look.
Yes.
Which is just really, you know, which I really liked in this. It wasn't really, you know, sports, or there was no strict rule. It was find out what your superfan wants their transformation to be and do that for them. So it was kind of across the board of what we were going for. You know, you saw, you know, the gowns, and you also saw like the business suits, you know, and it was really just tailored to what the superfan wanted, which I really liked that.
I like that too, because they've done some of these challenges in the past with quote unquote real women, you know, or everyday women, and they will have to make a cocktail dress. Like, it's a very clear direction. Make
Exactly.
a cocktail dress. But then they had the freedom to do really whatever the client or a superfan needed in their life for
Right.
wherever they are in
Which
their life.
in this case really just makes that superfan experience awesome.
Yes, and this is a really cool challenge because they had 2 days to
Yeah.
do it. So I was excited. I had high expectations for
I
all
had high
of the looks.
expectations too, because they've done so many brilliant things in one day. I was
Yes.
actually shocked. I mean, I get that when you have more time, you have more time to play with, and you'll go naturally at a slower pace. But if it was me, and it clearly is not, and I'm not doing this, nor am I saying that I could, but I would still try and get as much as I could done in the first day. And then the second day, you got the tweaks. You can stand back
Finesse
and look
it.
at it and be like, this should not be hemmed this way. This piece of fabric should be not, you know, like to make the adjustments. And it was kind of that they were still to the end working on it.
And some designers have improved over the course of the season with
Yes.
time management, especially Helen. You know, in the beginning, she was trying to do
Love
too many
Helen.
things with her fabrics, too many different manipulations to the fabric and
Right.
techniques. And some designers have still struggled with it. I think
Right.
Alexander, we see later, he definitely has some time management skills that he needs to hone in on with, well, creating a suit. I mean, that's a big challenge, but I don't know. I've never sewn anything, so I don't know how it feels.
Right.
But it seems to me that you could focus on one piece of the suit on one day and the other piece the next day.
I mean, I'm sure, you know, every designer has a different method to
Yeah.
that, but, you know, some want to make it look good together, some whatever.
It's
but
a lot more difficult than I'm making it sound.
yeah, totally.
Yes.
Okay, so we go to Mood, and Mood was a little bit uneventful. You know, we didn't see the dog. There was no fighting over fabric. No one had the same.
They had 45 minutes to shop. So
Yeah,
that's-
$200 to $400 budget, which,
Yes.
which we do see that Braden, you know, is going to spend a little bit more than he normally does, but he was saying how he was under budget on a few of the previous challenges, so he was okay with that, which is smart. He's keeping track of everything that he has.
Oh, yeah.
I do like, you know, how Ken let Susie pick out the fabric. You know, they were. I mean, we see that turns around not to be the best idea because the green fabric doesn't look great.
Well,
but
you have to speak up though as a fashion designer and really put your foot down and say, well, I like that. I like green, but let's look for something that might suit your skin tone better. Like you can put it in a flattering way.
I don't know that the green didn't suit her skin tone as much as it just looked like an old couch.
No, I know, but it did suit her skin tone, but I'm saying that's a way you could word it as a designer. Right. Oh, well, you know, that one doesn't look quite as expensive on you.
But in the same sense, if he would have picked a different color leather or put different accents on it, he could have made it look good. And I feel like that's what we saw a little bit for the preview for next season, that they're stuck with a certain fabric, which I've been actually wanting to see that all season. I've been wanting to see them say, this is what you have. You can't pick anything else. Or even better yet, if they gave every designer the same amount of the same exact amount of stuff, and they all had to do their own, you know, design with it.
The same colors and everything.
Everything.
Oh my goodness.
I think that would be interesting to see, because then it's really there's no outside. Well, my fabric, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. You have the same stuff. I feel like that'd be kind of an interesting challenge. Mm-hmm. Maybe boring to see the same.
No,
color,
that would be interesting for a challenge, but not for the whole season.
No, not for the whole season. Just for one. Just for one challenge.
Okay.
You all get the same exact stuff.
I support that idea.
Yeah. Your same model types. You know, like you get the same. And it's just kind of just like an even playing field.
Ooh.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. So they get 45 minutes.
To shop, yes.
Yeah. And you know, right away when we get back from Mood, Justin, love him, has his superfan do something that we were kind of like, where's this going to go? So he has her autograph her name on a piece of paper. And we were both like, what's like, is that going to be on the label? Like, where's that going to go?
Yeah, what's going on here?
Yeah, and then we see later that he transformed that into a pattern to go down the entire dress. So that was actually her signature dress. Brilliant.
So he created this black dress that had to meet her specifications for her religion. So he had like a sleeve to go like a little bit past the elbow.
Yeah, it has to cover like the back of the arm and down to the knee, I think is what she said.
Like the bottom of the kneecap or something. And he made a flattering shape for her figure. It was an A-line skirt, I think.
Yeah.
And he even mentioned that he created a corset underneath because, you know, of her recent
because he's
achievements.
awesome.
Yes, and weight loss. And of course, with that fast change, your body, it takes a while to adjust. From my experience watching The Biggest Loser.
Nice. Plug in the show.
Yes, I love that show. Anyhow, that's an incredible achievement that she's done. And so I thought that was cool that he was able to tailor that to really make her feel comfortable. And she was so happy to wear it. And so the signature was created on the dress with this. So it was a black dress with white embroidery for the signature.
Well, it was like an embroidery pad. It wasn't actually embroidered on the dress.
Embroidery
It was like
pad.
not pad, but it was like added afterwards. It wasn't like embroidered on the dress. That would have took forever to do all those because it was like stitching. It looked like it was like multiple stitching.
Yes.
So.
Okay. Well, it was stitched on something and applied to the dress.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. And then, you know, I have to say this time in the workroom that it's funny because we do see a change. We're not going to get there yet. But in the beginning of the workroom, I was actually very pleased with how it seemed very positive. It seemed like everybody was like, my girl wants to look like this. What does your girl want to look like? My girl wants to look, I'm going to do this. I'm so excited. Like they all seemed like, sweet. They're actually putting the superfans first. There's no drama.
For a while. And, you know, I noticed something interesting in the workroom that kind of doesn't have to do with the challenge. But I was like, what is that blue feather earring that Dom is wearing?
I'll leave Dom alone.
It was cool, but I'm like, okay, it's just one earring, long blue feather. I wonder if that was just because like they're sitting around in that workroom for a while and she just like fashioned an earring.
No, I've seen that a lot actually. Like
really?
That's been like the one feather thing. It's kind of an old thing.
Okay, I was like, I haven't seen it
No, it was almost like a year and a half ago I saw
Okay,
that. You know,
okay.
like, yeah, all the girls at
just was-
Coachella wearing that.
Yeah, she was just keeping it going, huh?
Yeah.
Okay,
You know
Dom.
what, though? I liked it. She can rock it. She
Yeah.
can rock it all day long. Some
She's
people...
bringing it back around.
Well, some people, like even like myself, like, I'm not a fan of doing what they say is in.
I agree.
So if she liked the blue feather,
air high five.
Rock the
I agree
feather.
with you with the trend thing.
Okay, so after we have this positive stuff,
Oh.
you know, we hear Ken saying, wait for it. We hear Ken saying that he's feeling the pressure because not only is this time he designing for himself, but he's got to do for his superfan, which again, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and be like, what? Like, he's coming around. And then as soon as we cut to the Refinery Hotel, I was like, oh, man, something's going to happen.
Something's going down.
Something's going down. Something's going to happen. And then we hear, which to me is a little bit crazy. Like, I understand that you want to have people in close quarters to create some sort of drama and to make them not sleep and to, you know what I mean? Like, to poke and prod them.
And they've done this on other seasons. After there's so many people eliminated, they'll kind of move people to the same room to condense it down.
Have you spent a lot of time in New York hotels? They're small, and
Yeah.
they had 4 single beds in one room. It's like
It's basically
they're
like
all-
there's
they're
no
sleeping
room
together.
in between the beds.
Yeah, they might have just got one big gigantic bed for the whole room. I mean, I don't understand. And then so we have originally it was Ken and Justin. And Ken was saying how that they've been like creating a bond and whatnot, which is kind of funny because if you think about it, thinking back, Ken has never gotten loud or abrasive with Justin. I think he might be one of the only ones he's never, got bitchy with.
I wonder if Justin just turns down his hearing aid.
Justin, that's so
I'm
wrong.
gonna tune Ken out because I don't want to hear it anymore. That was just a little joke. I don't mean any disrespect there. Just a
Anyway,
little joke.
moving on.
Yes.
So then we have...
But they get along.
They get along. Then we have Alexander. I keep messing them up. Alexander and Brayden had to pack up their stuff, which I'm sure they had like a coin toss or so. They had to figure out how to decide who moves to what room because they probably had the same rooms. And I'm sure they had the heads up that they were coming to the room. And Ken is ironing his
Denim shorts. Cut off jean shorts.
Yeah, who irons jean shorts?
And he's also wearing
That's like
face
ironing a
mask
sweatshirt.
at the same time. I love that detail.
He is wearing a face mask.
He's doing his face mask. He's getting ready.
And
but
it's not
who
even
irons the jeans exactly. Who does that?
It's not even welcoming. Like, hey guys, you're moving in. It was just like, it was just bitchy from the beginning. Like, that's the only word that I have for him. He's just a little bitch.
He was ironing by the door, and Alexander and Brayden were trying to just go in, and they were carrying heavy stuff, and they're like, come on, can you just let us in and do that in a minute?
And I feel like Alexander was trying to do it in a playful way. Like, I got a big suitcase that's bigger than you. And
he was trying to be funny.
But Ken doesn't even respond like, yeah, just 1 minute, this is really hot, and then I'll unplug it and let you in. Like, how are you doing? It's just like, he doesn't respond, and then he just waits and is just like, I'm doing something.
Yeah, and Alexander gets so fed up with him, like not...
Finally, somebody gets fed up.
Yes! He's just being so rude to not let them come in. Like, you can't stop what you're doing for a minute and let them in. So he's basically blocking them, and Alexander gets so mad that he, like, throws the iron on the floor.
Yeah, he pushes the ironing board
over, and
but what he does do is he says something, and I am like, go Alexander. He says, I can throw drama too.
Yes.
Which finally someone was not like egging him. It's like the fights in the past with Ken, people have been like egging each other on, and Ken gets on the defense and da-da-da-da. But it's like he was just like, two can play at this game. Back up.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Ken being that dramatic, there was no reason for him to be that dramatic.
Yeah.
There was no reason for him to be that angry.
Yeah, and I just feel like for me, it was very, I mean, literally my notes at that point in time where Ken needs to be off the show. 3 strikes, you're out, and he's so annoying. And I mean, I really feel, everything aside, like, I don't want to, like, a healthy amount of drama is fun for any television show, especially a reality, especially a competition show.
Exactly.
But he was just like over the top, like it was completely unnecessary. And it was very, to me, apparently they have cameras because they went back and saw the camera, and we cut to the next morning of all of them in like the room that they usually wind up at the end and waiting to like talk about this Ken drama thing. And Tim is like, I saw the tape. Like, I know what happened. Well, like, what is wrong with you?
Before we even get to Tim, I just wanted to mention this like production assistant, Megan. She's like in there with Ken in the hotel room saying, you have got to calm down.
Yeah.
Please calm down and let's talk about this. So she was trying to just, you know, have a conversation with him and figure out where all that anger was coming from. And it seemed like he could not be contained. Like, he was just so livid.
Yeah, I mean, and even Tim touched on it afterwards. He's like, it seems like you need to go to like anger management.
Yes.
Like, you have a problem.
Tim actually sat down not only with Brayden and Alexander and Ken, but all the designers were around them, like sort of sitting together on the couches, and they all like, it was like either a family meeting or like they all went to the principal's office.
It was more like that because it seemed very high school.
Yeah,
I wrote down, the whole Ken thing has just been very high school. And, you know, no disrespect. Again, I'm not on the show. I don't understand the pressure. I don't understand the stress. You know, I'm sure he's feeling insecure. Like, a lot of things get the best of people in these situations.
That's
so
true.
No judgment onto who Ken is.
Yes.
We like to just talk here about behavior. Like, the behavior we're seeing is the conclusion that we're coming to.
Yeah, and
no disrespect.
I'm just talking about what we saw on the show.
And it's juvenile. It's unnecessary and it's juvenile.
Tim Gunn I wrote down Tim Gunn is basically the principal at this moment. Like, they were just kind of in the office, like, okay, you're in trouble. Like, let's figure out how this went down, who instigated what.
Exactly.
Like, and then finally Alexandria just says, hey guys, we have all of these super fans coming.
Right.
We have to make sure that they have a good time and that we give them the cool pieces of art that they're expecting. She like talks about the clothes as pieces of art. So I think that's really, really well said. And Tim even commented that it was well said. And
I agree. Someone had to step up, and you know, for a second there, I was like, are they just going to go back and forth at each other and leave it all in the room? But I didn't think they can do that. But also, then we cut back to the workroom, and I feel like what you were saying earlier about Alexander. I feel like he was really, really affected by this, and that's why he got set back so far, because he's usually on it. Like, he's good.
So
he knows,
talented.
Right. He knows construction. He's very good. And I feel like
he went to FITM out here in California.
As much as he was dramatic in the beginning, I feel like his drama and his attitude had subsided. And I feel like it's almost the same in the respect that they both maybe felt insecure, so thought that like being the bitchy one was to their benefit. But Alexander, he dropped it after like second episode.
Isn't it amazing what happens as a result of the positive or negative attitude that you have? The result of what you can produce.
I mean, that's in life.
It's so clear in life and in this show.
Yeah.
It's happened again and again, especially in teams, when people don't get along and their clothes come out horribly.
Yeah, but in the same sense, with Alexander, he was honest about what happened. He brought it up, but he seemed to be more affected, which actually makes me feel like he's more genuine than all of his behavior.
I think
it makes me feel like he is actually real and he's affected, and he knows that.
Alexander realizes that he overstepped a boundary. You know, he didn't need to go there. He didn't need to be like throwing stuff around just because Ken made him mad.
I'm just kind of shocked, actually, when anybody gets physical on a show like this. I'm shocked that they're not just kicked off.
Yes.
Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if Tim would have came in and said that Ken and Alexander are going home. Yeah. I was actually thinking that might happen.
I thought he was going to, make someone go home when he came in and talked to the group.
Yeah.
But then his conclusion was, well, Ken, you're going to have to stay in a different room for the rest of the season.
Right.
Than the other 3 remaining men.
Yeah.
Then I was like, oh,
yeah.
I wonder how much longer Ken's going to be in the season.
Yeah.
That's my first thought there. I was like,
well, yeah, too, because it's usually like, so now he gets his own room and he can sleep more. Like, that just didn't seem fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty much that was the workroom. There was lots of comments in the workroom, but I feel like we should try and get to the runway because we're running out of time here a little bit.
Right there in that moment, though, when they went back into the workroom, I just wrote down, Ken's fabric is making me feel sad. Maybe it's because he was feeling sad, but the fabric
just not a good green.
just heavy and sad, and it didn't hang right. I don't know, but yeah,
but that's construction. That's not that's. I mean, any good designer, given any crappy fabric, can make it look good.
Yes,
So.
you're right. So on the runway, Heidi comes out and talks about the challenge, and I loved her outfit.
Heidi can pull it off, but yeah, so she walks out and she comes out and she's wearing a striped shirt with a floral print skirt. And
It's a pencil skirt.
It's a pencil skirt. It's a scoop neck sweater.
Like a cable knit sweater.
Yeah, but you know what? Like there's something going on these days where there's this mix match of pattern. And some people get it right, and some people get it so wrong.
But Heidi got it right.
Heidi got it right. And you know, the past couple weeks, I've been a little bit like, man, that's Heidi Klum. Why is she not rocking it? And she got it right tonight.
I have to correct myself. I don't think it's cable knit. It's a knit.
I don't think so either.
I got it wrong.
I was just going to let you go.
It's okay. No,
Yeah.
I can correct myself. I can be wrong sometimes.
And this is when we actually cut to Braden's girl crying. And it looked like, even before that, it looked like she was crying. It looked like she had some bags under her eyes. So
Yeah,
I
even
wonder
when she
really
went-
what was going on with her.
Even when she went to the fitting, you were like, she has sad eyes.
She had sad eyes. Yeah.
It's because that hair, it's too much of a shock. It's too much of a change in one day.
Yeah. Okay, so we start out with Justin. And Tristan just comes walking out, strutting her stuff, and she is happy.
On cloud nine.
She's so proud. That signature dress. She's awesome.
Yes.
I put awesome. I really liked her. I liked her dress. She had the superfan experience.
I have to say, though, the dress, for me, other than the detail of the signature, it wasn't exciting. I was expecting more from it, I think. So I was kind of like, okay.
But in this challenge, the whole makeover, her walk, her look, her confidence makes it exciting. Every single piece you see on the runway is not exciting. And
You're
a lot
right.
has to do with the flow. It has to do with all kinds of stuff. So I give her...
I liked her makeover and her attitude the best, I think. But
Yeah.
the dress
Oh, I like
was
the dress.
only
I feel like...
all right.
Like, just like when they were saying in the end, too, like where the signature hit, like it hit all in the right places. It accentuated the cut, the form of the dress. I really liked it. Okay, moving on. Then we have Braden. We have Jennifer come out.
Do you want to know what I wrote down? Sexy dress, sad hair.
Yeah. You know, I can't get
behind that
I didn't
hair.
like it.
I just
I didn't
can't.
like the vest. I didn't like the hair, but I can get over the hair. But I didn't like it. Was a nice dress. It had a little bit of a flare. It looked like a little bit of like it probably wasn't patent leather, but it looked like a little bit of a shiny patent leather accents on it.
Right.
Which I liked. Like it gave it a little bit of spunk. I like spunky.
I
but-
liked the way that the top half of the dress fit her body. I think the top half was better than the bottom half.
Yeah. Okay, and you know we
But
hear
the vest, I loved the vest.
I didn't like it. Okay,
was excited
so
about
then
it.
we've got, you know, some of the comments where it was sophisticated, it was chic, it was powerful, which that's what she was going for. So you got to give it to her.
Yes, she was going for that intimidating look.
Yeah. And then she did say that. And then we have Alexander. And she just comes out, Andrea comes out, and
Works it.
she looks gorgeous. She owns the runway.
Awesome.
I mean, it was a bad fit. The dress wasn't a home run, but she worked it and owned
And
it.
her hair and makeup looked
She looked
amazing.
flattering.
And I have to say, though, he was trying to make a tasteful suit for her. And when she turned that corner, she turned around, the slit in the back of that skirt was way too high. It was
just
not,
a bad fit. It was just a
not
bad
right.
fit. He ran out of time. It wasn't flattering. It was a little bit boring, but you know what? She freaking owned it.
She
so
did.
I'm going to give it to her.
She really sold it.
So then we've got Dom. And you know, I
yes,
do.
yes.
I like Jane Sarah. Like I like the pattern. The jacket was okay, but when she took it off, it was like she owned it. It was a good fit for her.
Exactly. And Jane Sarah, she wore that dress so well, and she was so confident. And
Yeah.
the hemline, it was a little bit of a high-low hem, not as dramatic as some of them that we've seen in the past, but it was maybe a difference of like 3 inches higher in the front than to the back. And I love where it hit her on her leg line.
It hit her in all the right places.
just right.
She was just
So
right.
Dom really got it right.
Yeah. So then we go to Kate. And Alta, like, she feels like a new woman. She's glowing. She has that
Oh, my
top
goodness,
on,
yes.
the green top, the black pants. That top was just, oh, she was amazing.
I thought this was going to be in the top 3.
You know, I kind of did too. But I mean, I understand why the other 3 were there.
Yes.
In retrospect, but I did, and because it was a different look, and it was a good look for her. So Kate, home run for Kate.
Kate actually did a good job of modernizing this woman because she she came in looking chic and sophisticated.
Right.
But this was still sophisticated but more edgy and young.
Right.
The pants were like a fitted almost like a legging, but a thicker fabric. She didn't want to give her a legging. She wanted to be more classy than that, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But it was still edgy. And the top, I loved the shade of olive green with the lace. It was just...
It was really, really nice.
elegant and sexy coexisting.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of it.
Okay, then we've got Ken, who, you know, Susan, you can tell she's happy. You can tell she's working it. It's a bad color. But, you know, it was really funny, and I love Heidi for 2 reasons on the Susie one for Ken, is that Heidi was like, I loved your walk down the runway. Like, it's better than some of the models, and that was amazing that she pointed it out and said it.
Yeah, Susie was really feeling it. She was having the time of her life being the super fan.
Yeah. And then the funny thing, though, what Heidi says about the pattern, and I love that Heidi calls herself, she's like Heidi Boob Patrol, because she always does. But, you know, it's an important part of everything, you know, and you can tell, like, she was so right. Once she points it out, like, all you're doing is looking at the boobs and how they look unproportioned.
Well, I must say, some of my favorite bloggers, Tom and Lorenzo, they have a word that I have to use in this instance. There's a tit discrepancy here. One boob is bigger than the other one.
Yeah.
In the dress, not in real life, but it looks like it's out of proportion.
Right.
According to Heidi, and I would have to agree. It's just it's not a flattering dress.
Yeah. So
and the guest judge, Erin Featherson, she even noted that the neckline is neither here nor there.
Yeah, it wasn't like a scoop and it wasn't like a V.
It was like a scoop V.
Yeah.
Which
I've seen that, though. I mean, I feel like that was a little nitpicky. I've seen that neck. I've seen that neck on shirts. I've seen that neck on...
But I think where she was going with it is maybe that neckline was too casual for that dress. It didn't dress it up enough.
Okay, so let's move along. We've got Andrea, which was the black top with the print skirt, which, you know, it had good hair, but it didn't look modern. This was like the little librarian for us. This was the art history girl for Stephanie. And,
right.
It looked like, to me, it just looked like she was going to, you know, anywhere. It wasn't not going anywhere special.
It looked like a really cute outfit that you could find at a department store.
Yeah.
It wasn't like really, really different to me.
So then we get to Helen. And I mean,
Helen.
Yeah, Helen. Jamie comes out and she looks sexy. She's happy. She's confident. I love at the end that she almost fell. I mean, that made it like the perfect all-around experience for her.
And she like just laughed it off.
Yeah, it was really funny. And you could tell her confidence went from like a 2 to like a 12. So
oh
it was
my
awesome.
God. I kind of wish that the whole episode was about her. The transformation was amazing. I want to know more about Jamie.
Yeah,
I want to know about her life.
They say right away, which hands the end. It is like she wanted an Oscar red carpet dress, and that was such a red carpet dress.
Yes, and it was the perfect color, navy, with a little bit of the black lace peeking out of the neckline. And Heidi Klum even said if that dress was sent down the runway on like a fashion show in Fashion Week and it was available to the stores, the actresses would be like fighting over it to wear on the red carpet.
So that wraps up the runway. Then we get down. We've got, you know, in the bottom, it winds up, we've got Ken, Alexander, and Alexandria. And the top is Justin, Braden, and Helen.
Yes.
So I'm happy to announce that Helen is the winner again.
Woo!
We love her.
Helen!
She's my favorite. I want her to win the whole thing. And
she's one of my favorites too.
I think I'd have to say I'm equally happy to announce that Ken is going home.
Woo,
the
Ken.
drama is over. Ken, I loved you from the beginning. I loved your bow tie, but it is time to go.
It's time
to
for
go.
you to go. And you know what? He actually left in a classy fashion.
He did leave in a classy fashion. I won't give him the word classy, but I will give him a minute of of that. That's it. That's
Of
all I give him.
respect.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we might have to. The one thing that we want to mention in the news is about the award, and then we have to. That's all we got time
Heidi
for.
Klum and Tim Gunn were nominated as a team for the best reality program hosts, and they won.
Congratulations, Heidi and Tim.
Heidi and Tim.
Woo! We love you.
Congratulations from us. You are so amazing on the show, and they work so hard, and they've done it for such a long time, and they're such a fabulous team. They really
are.
deserve it. So
They do.
We're very excited.
Yeah, and I think real quick. I mean, we don't have a lot of time left, but real quick, who do you think is leaving next week? Who do you
Oh
think's the
my
next one out?
gosh.
Who's a little bit of a prediction, real quick?
Okay.
Who do you think's leaving next week, and who do you think's gonna win the whole thing? Two, but just two names, no explanations.
Okay. I think Alexander could be out. I think Helen could win the whole show.
I kind of agree, I think. I mean, I want Helen to win the end, but I think it's going to be Alexander or Alexandria that goes. One of the Alexes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, so that about does it for our
Interesting.
show. I'm Stef Z. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at IAMSTEF. And Amanda, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at The Runway Queen.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Have a great night.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.